Okay, we've got Dominic, is that right? Dominic here, Dominic Barrington Prowse from Wellington Free Ambulance. Yes, please. Yeah. Is there a red light on the microphone? Is the microphone on?
Are we on?
Yeah.
Not that I've ever needed one before in my entire life, but there we go.
Well, we are live streaming, so
Fair
we
enough.
need the microphone for that. And we have a counsellor online as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, yeah. Fire away when you're ready.
Absolutely. Well, I'd just like to take the time to say thank you very much to Council for holding us this evening and for inviting myself. Always appreciated. It's always nice to see some friendly faces around the place. Always a delight to come up the coast, which is amazing. So obviously, I have submitted to Council in regards to our submission for funding, especially for the next 3 years. The key about presenting around this evening is to touch on something that we're touching on with all councils in our region and has been touched on a number of times in the past, which I have done as per the submission, is in regards to funding for $1 per head of population. We don't think this is too much of an ask. We do obviously realise the climate that we are in at the moment, but this is something that we have been requesting since roughly about 2016. And to give you a very kind of quick history in regards to that, in 2016, our fundraising numbers were looking at around about $4 million per year. Currently, we are looking at $7.5 million per year. Central government funding has gone up in that time from 75% to 82%, but due to COVID and everything that came along with it, all that did was kept us on an even keel of $7.5 million per year. My submission, I realised reading it again in regards to some of the history, I might have come across the wrong way. It never meant to. I do obviously understand that a lot of faces have changed over the years, but I think there does seem to have been a bit of a few kind of, lost in conversations about, there was at one point, I believe, with some of my predecessors and some of your predecessors, an agreement that we would go to $1 per head of population funding, and somewhere along the lines that has fallen through. When I did bring this up with some of your employees last year, they made a very good point that obviously we do not cover the whole of the Kapiti Coast District Council area. So a lot of my submission I have actually drilled down into the numbers, which I have put on the submission form, so we can actually hopefully get to an agreement where you guys are happy in the fact that you're not having to pay for a head of per population that we don't actually cover, i.e. north of Peka Peka Road. So that is all around that. Obviously, as you probably know, we are increase in populations. There is an increase in demand due to COVID and populations. Last year we had call-outs to about 54,500 emergency call-outs, which is what our EAS go out to. Obviously, that is what has been formed on around the submission, particularly for the Kapiti Coast area. But obviously, we're a lot more than that. We obviously do a lot of patient transfer service, and as our population is aging, that service will probably come in more and more as the years go by. Obviously, this is not just about me talking, so I'm basically open to questions, please.
Wonderful. Yeah, and all the details and figures are very clearly laid out in the submission, so we can refer to those. Councillor Wilson.
Yep, thanks, Dominic. First off, it's an absolutely brilliant service, which we just can't do without. We got a first-hand experience of that just the other day when a helicopter landed in the paddock here, and that was a Wellington Free looking after that. Is there a particular reason you don't go north of Peka Peka?
I've been led to believe that it's to do with an old sort of DHB line. Yeah. That is as far as I've ever got. I actually made a kind of comment to one of my colleagues today going, I wish we just covered the whole of the Kapiti Coast because it would have made my life a lot easier over the last week. But I don't know the reason why that has never come up in conversation. I can't speak on behalf of our sort of chief exec and our head of EAS services, but if it ever did come up in a conversation again, I would feel confident that Wellington Free Ambulance would be open to a conversation if that is something that council would like to approach. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So just again, it's brilliant work you guys do.
Yeah.
Really
I mean, it's a funny line because we obviously, as you say, Peka Peka Road is the border, but then we cover the whole of the Taurua Forest Park. So, and I think that's to do with the rescue squad service that we have, one of whose vehicles is based at the Kapiti station up here, and our capability to do that, and how well trained our paramedics are to do that kind of rescue service.
Councillor Halliday.
Yeah, thank you through you, Madam Chair. And Dominic, thank you very much for coming. And also thank you to your service. I had a nasty accident last year and had 2 ambulances involved in that. Very, very prompt service and very quickly into Wellington Hospital. That sort of stuff there as well. So just thank you. But look, after saying that, I'm very interested to what you just said around the boundary and regards to that. We have a group up here called CAG, Kapiti Health Advisory Group, which is a volunteer group. I'd be very keen for that conversation to be followed up through that group,
Sure.
if you like, and I'd love to connect you into there. I think there is a seat for you guys at that table, but I know it's whether you guys can get there or not, and depending on what it is you do, but I'd love to try and facilitate that connection. Would
Sure.
be much appreciated. You mentioned the renovation work for the ambulance station within the
Yes.
next 3 years. Can you just give us a little bit more information on that?
I can't give you too much more in the fact that we are just in the sort of planning at the stage at the moment, mainly around cost.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Kapiti station is still more than workable, so it will be more of a sort of, dare I say, I mean, a bit more than a paint job, but it will be a bit of a spruce up, make sure all our paramedics that serve out of that station have what they require to get the job done. I think, we're in the middle of building a brand new station in Masterton at a cost of $7.5 million. And we're not particularly needing that up here, but it has made us realize that, there is a need to make sure that all our paramedics are taken care of, and that means not just in an ambulance, but that means off-duty, resting, et cetera, as well. And obviously, Kapiti would be included in that.
And look, building on that a little bit, we have again with the CAG group, we were able to legitimise that group. We made it pretty clear that it's a central government deliverable around health, obviously, and we don't want to see that ratepayers forking out for that sort of stuff. After saying that, we would think that they'll be covering you completely as well. But we are looking at a proposal around increasing the capacity at the the hospital here. There's a polyclinic concept as such. So it could be a relatively interesting time connection there. And from an advocacy perspective, we could certainly, again, with that connection with that group, work in that advocacy space of maybe even tying what it is you're doing into that conversation as well. So that would be great to be able to make that connection.
Absolutely, and just carrying on from that, obviously with the geography of Kapiti, and obviously the main hospital for everyone here is still obviously down in Wellington. Obviously, first of all, Transmission Gully has obviously made a massive difference to the results and the health benefits of our patients. But we've also been experiencing sort of community care, sort of healthcare in the community, which we are a big advocate of as well. And part of my proposal, that you'd have seen some stats around, and if it's not in there, I can't recall, I can get it to you. But we do look at things like critical care vehicles, which would then bring down the numbers that do need to be transported to down to Wellington. And we have actually got 5 new critical care vehicles landing. 2 have landed and are just being spruced up at the moment. Another 3 are on their way, and one of them is coming to Kapiti. So that will hopefully make a difference, to get that care that they need without having to make that massive trek.
Yeah, and quite a staggering statistic there as well. 7,000 trips plus from Kapiti down to Wellington Hospital
Yeah.
as such as well. So
And I think the other stat is around the age as well. Obviously, in Kapiti, that we're talking, what was it? It's well over 50% of sort of 65 plus, and obviously that's going to increase as well.
no, it's lovely. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Very happy to hear about that critical care vehicle. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, well, they've just I mean, they don't come cheap, 130,000 to put it on the road, but we've been very lucky. The new police cars have been the Skodas, so we've taken a lead from them, getting a brand new Skodas, fitted them up so they can fit what's needed that from an ambulance could fit into a car to give that. So it still is fully kitted out with defibrillators, all the right drugs, all the right equipment. But yeah, it will hopefully, bring down the number. It will just mean people get the care without having to make that trip down the road.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in this evening and,
No problem.
and for your submission and for everything you guys do. It's just so appreciated.
Thank you very much for listening to me. And any questions? Someone's got my email address somewhere. So I think Nigel does
it's on your
actually. So.
Thanks,
And it was,
Dominic.
can I just say, it was really lovely to see community AED on your front door on the outside.
Yes.
Brilliant. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, Paikakariki Community Board. Sorka, Kelsey, come up to the table. Welcome.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, thanks for coming in. Just start when you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you for having us here today. I gather you've all had a very long day, and our submission's quite long, so I'm not going to talk for a huge amount of it. I hope you do take time to have a good read of our submission, though. We wrote it in consultation with a whole lot of our different community members. So yeah, hopefully it's quite representative of a lot of the views that are in Paikakariki at the moment. Yeah, I just want to thank Sorka for joining me today as well. So pretty much the main things that I wanted to get to, we've included some of the more specific things around what we would really like to see a focus on in Paikakariki. So the big one is, well, one of the big projects is obviously the seawall and the need for that to continue as planned. We are having ongoing conversations around the development of Beach Road, and just I'm sure we're probably not the only city centre that's expanding and growing, so we just want to encourage how council to look at how they are contributing to the development of all the different and unique aspects and areas of Kapiti. We have an agreement from council around the 30k speed limit in Paikakariki, so we'd just like to see that progress as well. And finally, the relocation of Budge House. And yeah, appreciate that a lot of work has gone on from council around that already. But yeah, just the continuing of that and the support of that would be awesome. Moving on to the areas that you asked more specifically about. Obviously, the big one is all kind of contributes to the increase in rates, and I think the board just wanted to acknowledge that that's never an easy conversation, but we do really support a lot of the suggestions that was put forward, including particularly the paying down of debt, not leaving that towards future generations, is something that the board sees as really important. Council housing, we generally really supportive of the idea around setting up a community housing provider. I think just the one concern we had was that community housing providers or community organisations are great in general when they're well funded, so we just hope that there's some mechanisms in there to make sure that the funding is continued and there is ongoing support from council. What else? So I guess just that we see paying down of debt, as I mentioned before, is really important, but that we also want to encourage that it doesn't take precedence over social and environmental well-being, that both of these things are important. So we hope that you find a way to manage that. I kind of have rattled through that really quickly and not that coherently, but are there any questions?
No, that's really good. Most, if not all of us, have read the submission already, so it's good that you've just reminded us of the key points, and we've filled ourselves in with the other details ourselves. It's an excellent and wide-ranging submission, and really great that you did that engagement with the community as well, and tried to reflect the views of the wider Paikakariki community. Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, thanks,
First
Gus.
off the block
And
again.
Suka, Sam Buchanan was in earlier, and we're talking about there are 4 of the social houses in Paikakariki, and it was mentioned, it was raised about the possibility of the trust, the Paikakariki Housing Trust, taking that on as a trust itself, and with the possibility of expansion. So has the community board has that been part of the thinking at all, or is there?
We had some brief discussions with the Housing Trust around, trying to, kind of be saying similar things, but absolutely the community board is very supportive of the trust and would really encourage council to look at ways to further involve the trust in Paikakariki. They've got very good reach into the community and, particularly different parts of it. So Sorka might have something to add on that.
I think the Housing Trust would just benefit and be able to use that to really address the needs of the community because of that knowledge. And it
Do you
would
want to just
depend-
pass the microphone along? We just got some people online.
It would depend also on what that funding model is and if you can still financially support us or just give us those houses.
Yeah, okay. And the other question was around the speed limit, the 30k speed limit. So is there? I apologise for not knowing this ahead of time, but is something actually happening down there?
I think we're in a bit of a question at the moment as well, just given some of the changes that have happened proposed from central government. I guess what we've said in our submission and the strong belief of is that we really want to see that happen. Like we've done the consultation with the community. It's obviously supported. It's gone through council. So we just hope that is able to progress despite what's happening at central government level. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Right.
Councillor Halliday.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Great submission. Thanks, guys. And Paikakariki has certainly got that personality all of its own, and you guys do a fantastic job down there representing your community. You'd mentioned about the concept of people being asset rich and cash poor, and maybe looking at deferment of rates or something along that sort of line. Is that something you guys came up with as a community board, or is it actually that some specific feedback you've heard from the community as such?
That bit was. We wrote it as a group, so I personally didn't write that bit specifically.
I'm not being critical, so I was just curious.
But I think, so I can't say on his behalf whether it was his idea or whether he had talked about it with members of the community. But I'm happy to ask him if you like.
Yep, I was just curious more than anything
cool.
else.
I think just in general though, I guess it's just thinking of ways kind of outside of the box that we can help people with their payments of rates when everyone's facing financial hardship at the moment, and perhaps there are some creative ways that could be done. Yeah.
Oh, look, we've certainly got that issue up here. I was helping out someone just last year, a lady who was looking at selling her house just over a $2,000 bill, and that sort of stuff. Asset-rich, cash poor, and not aware of the alternatives or other ways to get help. And that sort of thing there as well. So I think it's a very valid conversation.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks for that.
Rob, your microphone went on for a minute and then
Oh,
it
look, I
went
will.
off again.
Oh, thanks. Hey, thanks for coming tonight. Paikakariki is a really cool destination, really nice little village. We enjoy cycling down there, and we went on the escarpment walk again the other
Great.
day, and The restaurants are really great, and just a little bit of parking. I see a bit of problem there, but no, it's great. And you've got your own little airfield. Did you know that? You've got model aeroplanes flying from Queen Elizabeth Park there, and no, it's just a great place to be. And the beach is okay. The sea isn't clobbering the seawall too much, is it? You can get out there and swim.
At times,
Yep.
it
But
definitely is.
just one question. We talked about your housing. You've got 4 community houses there at the moment, and you're looking at land coming available up at Transmission Gully. Is that would that be affordable housing? It wouldn't be pensioner housing, would it? Because of its distance away from the town centre. Question. And do you need any any assistance with any town planning or parking, things like that? It's all working all right
You're
for our
offering your
urban panel.
services, Rob.
Yeah, we're getting round to an urban panel input. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, I'll come and have a chat sometime. Yeah, we're just looking at forming an urban panel and special interest in Paekakariki.
Oh, that would be great.
So
Yeah.
keep it up.
I think Soka, did you know?
Oh no, I think I was just like on the Wainui Whenua project. I think that's its own kind of being at the stage, and there's not much we can really have input in that. I think it rests a bit with the NZTA or some such.
Great.
But yeah, what that looks like would be, yeah, we're not quite sure at the moment, but whatever it is, it would be in partnership with Mana Whenua as well. So no
Okay.
how that.
Thanks.
Well, I think your submission summed up the variety of issues that Paekakariki is facing now that the community board does and can have influence over, which I think is really rather. So the Wainui Whenua, as you've said, is not something that's sitting within the community board activities at the moment. So, fantastic, really focused and relevant submission. So, thanks for coming along and thanks for talking to us tonight. And yeah. You're free to go.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I was
Thank you
a bit
so
rambly
much.
tonight. It was not
No,
very
it was
awkward.
great. It was great. Very clear. Very clear.
Thank you.
So I'm assuming that's Kerry Prendergast who's just popped up on the screen.
Certainly is. Hi.
Yeah, so we're running a little bit early, can you believe it? So we're kind of ready for you when you're ready.
Okay, can you see me?
No, now we can.
Okay, so you can now.
Yeah, you're
Yay,
about a metre
hi.
tall on our screen.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No,
So
I'm
I
exaggerating
understand-
slightly.
Hi. Mayor and councillors, I understand I have 3 minutes and that'll give you time for questions. Is that right?
Yeah, if you go a bit over, that's going to be fine. We're running early, so
Okay.
just impart
So,
to impart.
first of all, I really appreciate the opportunity to make a submission to you all. And it's nice now to see all of you because the camera's zoomed back. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm here speaking to you as the fundraiser, raising money for the fit out for the Wellington Town Hall and the 2 floors above the library where the New Zealand School of Music and the NZSO in a collaboration with Wellington City Council are going to be hosted and live once the town hall is finished. So this collaboration came about because, as you all know, you read the newspapers, the town hall had to be strengthened. So I'm going back 7 years when I became involved with fundraising. The cost then was, it was originally 40 million, 70 million, and as you all know, it's risen above 300 million. The city at the time decided it would make sense to have 2 blue chip tenants, the New Zealand School of Music, which is based at the university, Victoria University in Wellington, and the NZSO. And was the original vision was always that you put a nationally and internationally regarded New Zealand Symphony Orchestra together with the New Zealand School of Music, which has the 4 best programs and what it delivers in New Zealand. You put them together in the town hall, and that collaboration is greater than 1-on-1. So that work has been happening ongoing for 7 years, and I was asked to run the fundraising campaign to raise 30 million, which was the fit out cost. So this is not the cost to fix the town hall. This is just the fit out to make it suitable for the NZSO and the New Zealand School of Music to have their admin, their education, and their research facilities as well as playing facilities. Right from the start, my 30 million assumed 500k, so this is my thinking, from the region to recognise regional benefits. And in those days, there was a regional amenities fund. And I talked to the mayors at the time, that long ago, and they all felt that we should be able to apply and be successful. Of course, what's happened then, there's been long delays, and the mayors have substantially changed around the region. And I'm now at the situation where I'm finalising the fundraising. I have effectively raised about 30 million, and I'm just going around and collecting the last amounts of money. I made a presentation to the Mayoral Forum, and the mayors were supportive of me making submissions to all of the councils in the region. So the reality is what I'm asking from the region is $500,000, which is roughly $1 per ratepayer, to help fund the fit out for the Wellington Town Hall and the 2 floors above the library that I said will host that collaboration. What's also happened since then is that the Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh have put in $2 million to put in a recording studio in as part of the Wellington Town Hall. So we will now not just house the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra, but also the School of Music. And now it'll be the only scoring stage for scoring films and recording music, symphony in the Southern Hemisphere. So that's 3 amazing things happening in our region. So just so that I go on to what the regional benefits are, when I have been talking to the regional mayors, I brought with me students, both from the jazz school and the singing school, who talked, and one of the students came, in fact, from Kapiti, but that's not necessarily important. The main thing was that these students say they come to Wellington, the Wellington region, because of the quality of the university, the quality of the symphony orchestra, and the fact they love living in this region. And of course, to be a student today, you need to work in the region as well to help pay for your accommodation fees. So they help work in our restaurants and cafes. So the regional benefits for the School of Music and the NZSO, or the National Music Centre, there'll be cultural enrichment. So the School of Music and the NZSO have made commitments to take out their students around the region and participate in activities in Pora and the Wairarapa, Hutt City, Upper Hutt and Kapiti, to engage and provide diverse musical genres, performances, exhibitions, etc. The economic benefits, of course, I've already said that people will come to Wellington not just to be students, but we attract the highest teaching staff at the university, and the Symphony Orchestra is made up from people who live around the region. Having a National Music Centre with those 2, the NZSO and the School of Music, and now the scoring, will mean that there is an opportunity for talent development and education, and that has spin-offs for everywhere, particularly will offer valuable resources and opportunities for aspiring musicians and students. It'll also provide collaboration and networking. They'll spill out into Civic Square. They'll get out around the region. They'll get over the Wairarapa. This is going to benefit culturally, economically, and socially the entire region. And it will enhance this region's reputation as the cultural hub of New Zealand. So now you're going to say to me, so how much money am I looking for? Well, the last time I looked at the numbers for Kapiti, you have about 57,600 people. So we're asking for you for a commitment of about 51,195, which is roughly about a 10% share. I don't need, or the music school, I'm not being paid to do this job. The National Music Centre doesn't need the money on the 1st of July. What we would like would be a commitment for it to go in your long-term plan It doesn't need to be in the plan because I know all of local government in this region is under financial pressure. So it doesn't need to be in the 24-25, the first year of your long-term plan. You can push it out over 2 or 3 years. So it may be that if you are agreeable to make such a commitment of 50,000 from your ratepayers, you could spread it over 2 or 3 years. So that's really what I wanted to say. I was trying to keep it succinct, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
That's incredible, Kerry. So you're saying that it's the same amount that we had to pay before, but now we get a recording studio as well.
Of course, you didn't know that. Yes, we do. So it's a scoring facility, and I happened to be in LA when Peter Jackson was there at the launch of Mortal Engines, and he had a stand up with the media from LA and across the western seaboard of America, and he talked about the quality of the NZSO. So you may not know, but Lord of the Rings had to be scored, which means, when they run the film and make sure the sound is exactly aligned, it had to be scored in Pinewood Studios in the UK. With this facility, films made in this country and in the Southern Hemisphere will now be scored in Wellington. And of course, recording for the NZSO and anything that plays in the town hall will able to be recorded. It's got the 3rd best acoustics for a concert hall in the world, and that's from James Judd, who is he's a phenomenal conductor that goes around the world, but has a base in Wellington with the New Zealand Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah, I can verify that, having studied acoustics at university, and we studied the town hall, and it has the same proportions as the Vienna town hall, though smaller, the same proportions.
And it will be just as good when it goes back, and the organ is being refurbished and restored and will go back as well.
I mustn't get carried away. Councillor Wilson?
Yeah, Kerry, first of all, congratulations on raising 30 million. That in itself was an enormous task. In case it doesn't work out, you would be most welcome to bring the whole show up to the Kapiti Coast. We would find a home for you for probably less than 30 million, I would think. But this is just by way of a fallback position. But while I've got you, I also just wanted to say congratulations on the work that you do with Mary Potter Hospice as well, because we benefit enormously up here from that and from the work that you do. So, yeah, this is great work you do. But just for the record, the Kapiti Coast is the creative and cultural capital of the region. So just worth bearing that in mind.
I will keep that in mind, and you might also like to know I chair Wellington Free Ambulance, and we do a sterling job looking after the people of your part of the region as well.
Yeah,
but thank you for that support. I don't know that you'd really want to take on the Wellington Town Hall with all of its problems, but being able to say that you paid in some small way to help the fit out would be very helpful for me. Thank you.
Councillor Coe, Liz Coe.
Well, I think Nigel's just stolen my thunder. I was going to say exactly what he said. Well done on the 30 million. And look, we have so many aspiring musicians and very talented musicians in Kapiti. And I think this gives them, that next step forward to aspire to go to even greater heights. So well done. I'd be very happy to support this initiative, despite having heard from people today who want us to stick to roads and sewerage and water only. But I think this is just so important for our young people as a way of progressing their musical careers, and we owe it to them to support it. So well done.
Thank you. And I wouldn't like you to think that I've finished the fundraising, because now that they can't go into the building next door to the town hall, which is called MOB or Municipal Office Building, it's going to be demolished. They've taken on 2 floors above the library, and the fit out costs for that are well above the 30 million that I've had to raise. So they've come back to me saying, could I raise some more? So I'd hate you to think when I said I've raised 30 million, I've finished, and that did always assume 500k from the region. It's just now my time to go around and collect it or get those commitments in your long-term plans.
Jocelyn Pravanov, Councillor Pravanov.
Thank you, Kerry, for coming to speak to us today, and congratulations for all the money that you have raised. I have to say I have quite a strong tie to the town hall. My third great-grandfather, his portrait is hanging in there as one of the mayors.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
The first one, actually, if I may say so.
The first mayor?
Yes.
Wow, that's really impressive.
I can't help it, I'm sorry. It just happens. I do have a question. So you've got the breakdown of the various funding requests by council. I'm not just interested to know why you've actually done it by council rather than through the through Greater Wellington Regional Council. Does that come?
Well, first of all, I guess it goes back to the days of when there was a regional amenities fund of the 5 metro mayors, and that was the first people I approached. When I presented at the mayoral forum about 3 months ago, I think it was, Janet, the Wairarapa mayors were there, and they immediately said, look, we want to be part of this. We're part of the region. The NZSO comes over. So we want to put our hands in our, well, they haven't signed up yet, but they were prepared to support it through to their councils as well. Darren Ponta was there, and I've subsequently seen him. I think his rationale was that it's not really part of their what they're allowed to do under the Local Government Act, and so we have just decided to pursue it through the territorial local authorities rather than Greater Wellington.
Thank you.
Great. Well, I think we're through our questions now, Kerry. So thanks so much for zooming in and sharing where you're at with this project with us. It seems like it's landed quite well for this evening. We'll discuss it as we go through our long-term plan deliberations, of course. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Janet. And can I just say, I do appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. And as I say, I don't have to have the money in this next year. I know all of you are under pressures, but having put it in your long-term plan would be the commitment I need to be able to sign it off with the university. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and all the best with the rest of the fundraising. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See ya. Bye.
Bye. So next we have Mandy Savage. It wasn't enough this morning, you just had to come back for some more.
The remix.
We couldn't have done one after the other to save you 2 trips?
Well, I was told that I'd have to combine my speaking time.
Oh.
So I would have had to condense both prezos yet again. So I thought I'd take the option to revisit the...
Well, thanks for coming back.
No worries, thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate the commitment. Yeah.
Kia ora.
Cool.
Kia ora, my name's Mandy Savage. I'm the Centre Manager and Health Promoter based at the Cancer Society just around the corner on Kapiti Road. Principle 3 of the vision from Tangata Whenua gifted to our community covers kotahitanga. Through unity, Tangata Whenua and communities have strength. Working together, we can ensure that our district's heritage, cultural development, health and education flourish. It's the health of our rohi and the impact of alcohol that I want to highlight this evening. As you're aware, in Kapiti we have a significantly higher alcohol licence density by land than the rest of the country. This is across every licence category. This proliferation of alcohol licences is harming our community. Here's a quote from Miriana Selby, Tumaki or CEO of Te Wānanga o Raukawa, regarding alcohol harm and the excessive number of alcohol licences in her community. As the biggest employer in Otaki and as an organisation established to grow, strengthen and nurture the intellectual, physical, spiritual and social skills of our people and to add value to the community, the actions of the Council in continuing to legitimise, proliferate and encourage access to alcohol and its impacts on our community is the antithesis of all Te Wānanga o Raukawa is about, and the difference we are trying to make. The serious and harmful impacts on our community, and in particular our people, roll on and on. At the Cancer Society, we want people in Kapiti to be part of safe, active and healthy communities. We know that in this community, alcohol is a problem. It's a class 1 carcinogen and is causally linked to mouth, throat, voice box, esophagus, bowel, liver and breast cancers. Drinking even low amounts of alcohol regularly increases your risk. Additionally, alcohol increases your risk of over 200 physical and mental health conditions and may cause injuries. Kapiti residents have a moderate to moderately high risk of being hospitalised from alcohol-related conditions compared with other districts. Age, ethnicity and prevalence of other health conditions are factors impacting on the likelihood of alcohol-related harm. As is consistent with national findings, our emissions are higher in young adults and males. However, evidence suggests there's another high-risk age group, and that's males over 50. In terms of ethnicity, we know that the burden of alcohol harm falls disproportionately on Māori. Māori living in Kapiti were more likely to attend EG following injury. 61% of those injury attendances were directly attributed to alcohol. For Pacifica, 61% of those attendances were directly attributed to alcohol. The Cancer Society asked KCDC to consider implementing the alcohol licensing fees bylaw and passing on the majority of the licence cost to business owners. This ensures a consistent approach across the regions with other councils also making the bylaw, such as Wellington City, Hutt City and Porirua City Council. We respectfully request that KCDC goes further and considers the location and density of outlets, trading hours, access to cheap alcohol, exposure to advertising and alcohol industry sponsorship. We look forward to supporting the consultation process for a local alcohol plan, and we commend the work that's already been done in this space. So yet again, on behalf of the Cancer Society, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity this evening to present my submission, and I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
You made a powerful case about the harms of alcohol. What I'm not clear with in your submission is the link between reduction in harm and higher fees. Has that link been established that if you raise the fees, you reduce the harm?
Our concern is around the fact also as ratepayers that we are bankrolling these licences. We don't want to subsidise them. It's not so much around the amount of the fees, it's just the fact that there is that proliferation of licences around our community. And that's what we're here for today.
So the idea is that raising the fees makes them unaffordable and the businesses close down?
We don't want to see businesses closed down. We see it as, it's a legitimate business expense that we as taxpayers shouldn't be subsidising.
Okay. That clarifies that nicely, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nigel?
Yeah, I just would welcome, as you probably know, I chair the DLC, and I'd really welcome some further conversations because there is advice that says like having an LAP is actually counterproductive, that there are reasons why it's best not to, as long as you've got other processes in place. But I'd really welcome that. The number, I don't know if there was a specific number, but you're saying Kapiti has a higher density of outlets. And I wondered if if like cafes, because now a lot of cafes, the movie theatres, for instance, you can get a glass of wine or whatever, they count as part of that they would count as part of that as well, right?
They would, but it's for us. It's the fact it's club licenses are significantly higher. Our off licenses and our on license. It's just across our district. There seems to be compared to nationally, there seems to be a lot more licenses granted than across New Zealand.
Yeah. Actually, I can just offer one thing that that's quite possibly slowed. I'm not sure how the graph went prior, but I do know in the last year and a half, in fact, there's been a couple that were rejected.
Okay.
And so it's quite possible. It doesn't seem to be growing significantly. So maybe it reached its level.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'd
That would
really
be
like to
good
have more of a
news.
chat. Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Yeah, that's an interesting list that you present, because on the face of it, it seems like we have less opportunities to go out and drink anyway than in central Wellington, for instance. But we still have this proliferation.
We
of
get our
other
hands on
kinds
the
of-
alcohol.
Yeah,
Once we really
yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, and our concern is obviously clustering in certain communities such as Otaki or Paraparaumu Central. It's when your licence density is clustered around lower socio-economic areas, that's where you find the most harm. And that's consistent nationally and internationally.
Yeah. Martin?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, and thanks for coming in again, Mandy. I just wanted to get your opinion on something. This morning when you were talking, you mentioned a regional approach to
Yes.
smoking, well, I shouldn't say smoking education, more like the education against the effects of smoking. Would it be a fair comment to say that a regional approach to unified education, awareness, that sort of thing, would be potentially more an effective tool as part of that harm minimalisation process?
All the research around education as part of a harm minimisation process around alcohol shows it is not as effective as other measures, such as restricting the proliferation of licences or local alcohol policies. Education has its place, but as an approach, it's not the public health advice that we work to and that the Cancer Society endorses that it is not the most effective approach. You're not going to get the greater good unless
Really needs to
you
be a
take a different
combined
approach.
Really needs to be a combined approach, doesn't
A
it?
wider approach, and that's why, Wellington City, Hutt City, Porirua City, they're all, going for the same approach. I guess it's the same thing, like you say, with smoking and vaping. If all the councils are collaborating and working for the greatest good, that's wonderful, particularly because in this community, people travel across our districts. Is it 30% plus of our Kapiti working age residents commute to work in either Porirua or Wellington? So we have a significant proportion of our population that crosses boundaries every single day. So it's just great if we can have those consistencies across council boundaries as well.
Cool, lovely. Thanks. Again, just one more reason to be joined up with our CAG group as well. Appreciate the input.
I'm not seeing any more questions. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, just
Last
have
call
one
for
more
questions. Yeah.
quick one, because you're probably more across this than I am. The bill that Kerry Allen was going to be putting through Parliament, my understanding is that somebody else has picked that up.
Oh, I would have to check with my
Yeah,
team on that one.
okay,
I'm not
yeah.
across that actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone has picked it up. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
that's cool. Okay.
Thank you for coming in, not once, but twice.
Oh, I'm a frequent flyer.
Yeah, and the extremely valuable information and advocacy that your submission contains. Thank you so much. So, Martin Weil is not coming in today. So we are done, I believe. Are we done? Just double checking. Nobody we missed. Thanks to everybody who submitted today. Thanks to elected members and staff who've been here for 11 hours, 10 hours, something.
Excuse
And,
me.
good night, everybody. Paul Marie.
Janet, can I just ask,
Oh, closing karakia. Hang on, wait. What? Martin, do you have a question while I pull one up?
I did. I just want to perhaps check in with officers when the next tranche.
Everybody, we're not quite done. Just stay settled.
Just want to check in officers when the next tranche of submissions that we're going to be for the hearings, when we might be expecting those. They sort of turn up tomorrow, over the weekend or Monday. Do we have sort of an
I'm
idea?
hearing a
when
bit
that-
of muttering. We're not quite done yet. Could we please have some quiet while we finish this hui? Evan? Martin's asked when we're going to get...
Just curious to know when we might get the next tranche of submissions for the hearings on Tuesday.
I'll follow up with Cheryl Gavin about that. She's coordinating.
Okay.
But I'll get back to you tomorrow morning.
No, that'd be fantastic. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your help today, Evan. Been really appreciated.
Actually,
Okay.
could we also possibly,
Yeah.
I found it really useful having this sheet.
Yeah,
So
that will happen again.
if that could be emailed as well, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just do a closing karakia. Ka whakaere te tapu, kia wātea ai te ara, kia tūru ki whakataha ai, kia tūru ki whakataha ai, hui e, hae ki e. Kia ora.